Hey, good morning, everyone. We're doing another quick live shop. This is number 13, and there was some things we left out on the radius and tangent dresser, and some good points brought up after the video posted. So we're going to go through a few things. We're going to wait for a few people to show up. I'm going to mute myself and get rid of this dumb commercial. The video posted. So we're going to go through a few things. We're going to wait for a few people to show up. Let's mute this thing. There we go. All right. We got one person watching, one whole person watching. So we got 3 watching. People are starting to show up, so that's pretty cool. We're going to chit chat for a little while, talk about a few things, and then we'll get into the radius and tangent dresser after a few people show up. So good morning to everyone. It's 9 o'clock in the morning here on the west coast of the United States. And we'll talk about maybe some diamonds. I've gathered up some diamonds that we weren't able to talk about last time. And I'll show you a few of my beaters and a few of my nicer ones. I just pick up lots on eBay. You know, sometimes you'll see 3 or 4 diamonds, and maybe 1 or 2 of them is kind of what you want. So we'll go through a few of them. I'll try to get them into the camera where you can get a good look at them. This one's perfectly round on the end, which means the diamond itself is like a phonograph needle. The diamond itself is very round and it has no facets. It's like a cone. It just comes up to a point. Now this I consider a beater because it's very rounded off, and I'll use this for rough shaping and things like that. But it's as you can see, it's pretty beat down. Let's see. We got. Nick Schneider said, "Is it legal to skip your own ads?" I feel compelled to skip my own ads. Paul Chirello, good morning. Let's see. Spencer says, "Sorry, I can't join in today. Out with my bride." Spencer, actually, a lot of this is stemmed off of you. We're going to be talking about the 2 eccentric pins and raising and lowering the arm. Without using math. So I kind of neglected that. We just lightly brushed on it. And but Spencer, thank you for your input. Randy Richard, good morning. Jim's videos, good morning, Stan. Good morning, Jim. Good morning, Mr. James Green. How you doing? Already got coffee. I'm on my 2nd cup, which is a no-no for me. I'm only supposed to have 1 cup a day. Whenever I go to the doctor, it's more like a negotiation. You know, he says, you got to cut out all caffeine and cut out all sodas. But I want you to do this and this. And I say, well, tell you what, I'll do this, but I'm only going to have 1 cup of coffee a day. So it's like we're negotiating a little bit. Yeah, Spencer, we're talking about diamonds. That ought to wake your bride up a little bit. Anyways, we talked about the beater phonograph type diamond with no facets, just a simple cone and rough shaping. Came in an eBay lot, no big deal. Here's another roughing diamond I use. It's a pretty big carat weight. You can see where it's been nicked by a few grinding wheels. And this is kind of a beater too. The tip's pretty beat up. This one's triangular shaped, so it's got a triangular shaped diamond, and then the facets look like this. So that's what you're looking at there. I'll try to draw each one so you can see what the diamond looks like in case the camera's not catching what they look like on the tip. Now this diamond, you can run it 3 different ways, and again, like the bow of a ship, always present your grinding wheel this way, 3 directions. So you can insert this diamond 3 different ways with good results. And that's good for roughing. Here's an interesting one. This is another one that got picked up in an eBay lot. This is like some brass or possibly copper. I guess that's copper. But within it, there's multiple diamonds. And that actually makes a very flat, if you make a pass across a wheel with that, you can see that the copper kind of grabs the shape of the wheel, the contour of the wheel, And the multiple diamonds actually work pretty good for doing flat work and dressing wheels flat. I tried it a few times. I wasn't displeased with the results. I don't really know what that's for. It's probably for some kind of a tool grinder or something. Very specific. It's a Norton. Got a big old long part number on it. But that came in a lot of tools that I got on eBay. Let's see. Ian Taylor says, afternoon, Stan from Petersborough, UK. Good afternoon, Ian. R. Stephen Lang, afternoon here on the East Coast. Steve says, morning all. Morning, Steve. Technically, the pot is a cup. Well, yeah, I guess it is a cup if we want to look at it that way. Okay, but that's multiple diamonds across a copper embedded holder. So that, I mean, I just played with that. That came in a lot of diamonds that I got off of eBay. What do we got here? Oh, this is that one I was telling you about the other day. This one's actually kind of diamond shaped. So there's the facets of it. It's four-sided, not three-sided. And maybe I can get you down. Hopefully we'll focus on that and you'll see the tip of that diamond. I doubt if the camera is really showing up on that, but this is pretty good. I use this for two different directions. I'll bring it in on the sharp side here and here to bring my dresser up to my wheel. So that's pretty good for, this will remove an awful lot of material with a lot of down feed. You know, I'll bring down 4,000 or 5,000 thousandths on the down feed and just plow across that wheel and it removes it. The diamond doesn't get hot. You're not throwing a bunch of sparks from hitting the, you know, the steel holder or anything. So this is good for removing an awful lot of material. Now let's get on to a little fussy one. This is a little tiny, that's a little tiny phono type needle. And this one's in really good shape. So I would consider this a final dress. You're back to the round, kind of cone shaped diamond. And that's going to get in and do your final dress. You'd never want to use this, you know, for an initial cut and to plow out a bunch of material. Otherwise, it's going to turn into a beater like that one, as I referred to them, just a big, ugly diamond just made for plowing off mass quantities of material that you don't care about. You know, keep your nice diamonds for little fine final dressing and keep your big, ugly diamonds for doing hogging work. All right. So let's get these diamonds off the bench. I think we kind of went through all of them here. There's another funny little guy. That one's still got, looks like he's still got the copper strip. There's 3 diamonds across there. And it's got a hole in it for whatever reason, maybe for some type of alignment on a specific machine. And again, this is a Norton with a very long part number. I haven't used this on anything, but it's kind of interesting. All right, so there to be, you can find this stuff. They can be had. You'll find all kinds of crazy diamond shapes, holders, and things like that on eBay. The stems are soft, so you know if you get one that's the wrong size, you don't have to think twice about chucking it up in the lathe and turning down the stem to make it fit your holder. You know, this one here, I cut this one down, cut it down to 3/8, and actually milled a flat spot on it so it would index the same way every time. You know, so a lot of times you can just grab these things, even if they're not the right size, turn them down on the lathe, and they're perfectly good. And you get good prices on eBay on some of these things. Some of them not so much, but keep your eye out. All right, that's it for diamonds. Let's check some comments. Blue Wolf, hey Blue, I haven't seen you in a long time. Oh, Miko, evening here in Finland. Hello, Finland. Camera still wants to focus on the background when showing the diamonds. Yeah, I believe that, James. That's why I drew them on the board so you kind of see the different types that I've been using. Stan needs a camera guy. Yeah, I need my own private cameraman. RC Miller, morning. Okay, let's go over something that we didn't really discuss a whole lot about the radius and tangent dresser. We touched on these pins. Can you see that? Let's get you in a little closer. Pardon the shake. We're going to get you in and show you what's going on with this thing. Make sure we're not losing our feed. And tip you down just a tad. I want you to look straight into here, and you see an eccentric here and an eccentric here. And we never really talked much about this dovetail. Now you don't really move this much. You know, I'll move my diamond up and down to create this kind of shape or this kind of shape on the wheel, convex or concave. But we've got a pin here that slides, you know, left or right. And when these eccentrics are adjusted, you've got zero play on the on this dovetail, and you set your zero height with the pin out on both of these pins, both of the eccentrics. You set your zero height here. Now, if we want to lower the diamond, we would come across, oops, this way. And you can do this. Let's say you run out of travel with the diamond. The other day I adjusted the tip of this diamond and brought it way down low to, you know, to create what we wanted. And we only did a 1/4 inch. Let's say you need to go a 1/2 inch. So we're going to release this this gib. We're just going to push down here. Now, how do we measure that? Well, you've got two opposing rolls right now, and these are precision ground. And we just grab, let's say we're going to go a 1/2 inch. We're going to get a big old sucker in there. So we got a 1/2 inch gauge block there. And when we push one into the other, being opposing rolls, they're going to square up to each other. So we got our 1/2 inch gauge block in there. And we tighten, and we can get this fella out of here, hopefully. As you can see, that's a good snug fit. So there's your 1/2 inch. And now we're cutting our wheel, and we can always go back to center anytime we want. All we gotta do is put that pin back into there. We're back on zero. So this, I mean, I would use these for very large cuts, but I neglected to talk about this dovetail the other day. We touched on it lightly, but I didn't really get into it. So that's how you would do what would that be? That would be a convex wheel for a concave part in there. And you can do it just the opposite. Lock this, unlock our gib, our dovetail there. This is a very interesting locking device. I'm tightening here, but it's a pointed set screw against a ball that pushes out sideways into this dovetail. So pretty interesting. Okay, so we're going to slide this back up. We're back on zero. I can put the pin in here and go back to zero. Or we can push it this way. Well, we're going to go this way. We're going to go like this, and get my gauge in there, nice and flat. And now we've got exactly the opposite. Gauge out. And now we're doing the same thing, the opposite direction. Now we're making a concave wheel for a convex part. All right. Oh, let's see. Hey, Sandy is back. Enjoying the dresser education. Thanks much from South Texas. Sandy, no problem. Glad you can make the live feed this morning. We touched on this subject a little bit, and I after the video was over, I kind of said, well, I really didn't talk about that much. And in extreme cases, when you have to go out a bunch, and go out a 1/2 inch radius or whatever. I mean, this is going to make a whopping 1 inch diameter on your wheel. That's a big radius. So with a 1/2 inch or with a 1/2 inch diameter, so that's going to make a really big cut on your wheel. So we didn't really touch on it, and I thought I would do an addendum here. All right, let's put you back out here and check some comments, see if we got any questions. How about cup wheels? Blue, we covered cup wheels on the first one a little bit. We talked about using tangent to cut a 1 degree back cut on the cup wheels. Go check the other video out. It's already up, but we use the tangent function and the actual the slider to make a 1 degree back cut on the back side of the wheel. I was going to ask the same thing, 3/8. What about the width of the sliding pin? 250? Oh, I don't know. We could pop it out and measure it. You get it down where it's probably 3/8. You know what? It might be millimeters too. It doesn't matter because at this point, when you're on 0 here, you've got 0 clearance between there. So the width of this pin is kind of irrelevant. Let's see what we come up with here real quick. Measuring a 1/2 inch, $4.99. Okay, so that's how you would use those with gauge blocks. And see, now I've quickly got myself back down to 0 without messing with the diamond. A lot of times it's just as easy to grab a hold of the diamond and do it with the diamond. You're going to want enough presentation of the diamond where you don't nick up your holder down here and it gets in the way. So you need the diamond high enough to make that happen. And quite often you're going to want to use a phonograph type diamond holder that has the sharp sides. Okay, how often, let's see, CNC USA, how often do you need to dress a wheel if you are trying to use profile grinding in comparison to flat grinding? Profile grinding, you're going to lose your shape pretty quick. Do all your rough grinding, bring it back to a dress, and then come back and for your final. And then you might want to do a 3rd final. Brian says, good morning, Stan from Emmanuus, PA. Hello, Brian. Width of the pin plus width of the pin stop, what do those equal? Well, I don't know. I don't think it really matters. The pin stops. Oh, these two put together? Well, I don't know. That's kind of an interesting question. Let's see if we can get in there and measure that. See if we can get the flats on there. You can do this with a micrometer. That measures 1 inch on the dot, James. So each one of those is a 1/2 inch. Even though those are on an eccentric, you know, I don't think the diameter of those really is relevant to anything, because all you're doing is creating a stack in between the rolls. They could be 1 inch each, or they could be unequal. That could be 1 inch and that could be a 1/2 inch. All you're doing is creating a stack and creating an offset on that diamond. One thing I gotta say about the Yuasa is that everything is done with one tool. And, you know, people don't think about that when they design stuff. A lot of times they, you know, well, they'll do a 5/16 here and a 3/8 here and a 1/4 inch here. And they've got all these different things you need to make your adjustments. But this is very well thought out. Your gib adjustment, your diamond adjustment here, your diamond setting here is all done with one tool. And I for one, really appreciate that. Let's check some comments. Is there a clearance grind? Is there a clearance grind on the holder for a tight radius grind? On this one, yeah. Well, I've cleared it with the wheel. A lot of times you'll get in there with a wheel just to create some clearance so you can make your tiny little radii. You can, and I talked about this a little earlier, these holders are very soft. It's very easy to chuck them up in the lathe and get in there and you can profile that point a little bit. Be careful you don't get in too close to the diamond, obviously. There is a set in there, the way the diamond's set, it's copper colored, so I think it's like brazed in there or silver soldered in there or something. but you do this for the diamond setting, but you can profile these on your lathe too, or just bring a grinder in and let them self-clearance. Let's see, what would be a huge radius if you needed it? That would be a huge radius if you needed it now, maybe for future reference. Yeah, that's true, James. I've never had to make anything that big. I've never gone past a 1/4 inch radius. No beer cans tonight, Blue. No, were you here the night I crushed the beer can on my forehead? I guess you probably were. Also new to surface grinding here as well. You'll pick it up pretty easy. The best way to do it is just do it. Get out there and grind some stuff, but don't just grind for the sake of grinding. Take a block that's a little over 1 inch and make yourself a target. Always practice precision. Always say, I want to take this to 1 inch on the dot, and measure it a bunch of different ways as you're doing it. Check it for flatness, and try to sneak up on it slowly and create yourself a real goal and try to hit it. That's the best. That's the best advice I can offer on surface grinding. Oh, you were here that night, Blue. How humiliating is that? Watching Stan crush a beer can on his forehead. All right. Tried your beeswax trick. That's some messy stuff right there. It's a little messy. It does pollute the wheel. Your wheel sure runs cool when you do it. Your wheel gets polluted and very deeply, and you have to dress very deeply to get the beeswax out of the wheel. And just use a little bit. Don't use too much. Don't charge that wheel with a bunch of beeswax. Just a little. Just touch it. Okay. I thought I'd do an addendum to this and get it all over with. I can't think of any other features on this thing that we haven't covered. There was some good input. There was some good comments after the video posted, and it was too late for me to, do them live. So I thought I'd just create this video to show you guys what it's about. If you guys got any other questions for me, the turret. I got an email from a guy. It's actually coming to New Mexico, James. There's a guy that picked that up, and it's going to New Mexico. It's for his Clausing 5900. So that thing's out of here. I'm crating it up today and going to go take it down to a UPS depot and get it on a truck. That's why I now have a wheel just for the beeswax method. Well, you can do that too. Yeah. Yeah, there's going to be a guy with a turret somewhere in New Mexico. I forgot what the town was. It was a funny little town. What is next? Oh, we're going to do some more conduit bending videos. I got those coming up. I actually went, let me go get it. I went and picked this up at a yard sale just to show you guys the difference. I went and picked up this bender. Now, this is an aluminum headed Gardner bender. And I'm going to do a side-by-side when I get the ideal benders in front of me and show you the difference between a Gardner bender and an ideal bender. So we got a conduit bender coming up, or conduit bending video coming up. And I'll show you the difference between the benders and how to use them properly and how to make some more offsets and things to get around some obstacles. All right, but I picked that up just to demonstrate it on video. I don't use Gardners myself, but this was cheap enough at a yard sale, so I grabbed it. Corrals? What are you talking about, James? Corrales? If so, I know exactly who that guy is. The guy's name is Ron. No, it's not Ron. Don't remember his name. But I got it created up right now. How's the Johnson? Gosh, I haven't touched it. Here, I'll swing you guys over and let you have a look over there. Johnson's still sitting right where I left it. Right down here is the beginnings of a crate. Right down there, you can see I've got the turret screwed and steel strapped to some inner crate. I build my crates from the inside out. So that's all strapped to wood right there and strapped down tight, screwed together and banded. And now I build a crate around that, and I've got something to screw to build the outer crate, and that'll get closed up with plywood that you see there in the background, and then banded one more time. So that's how the turret's going out. All right, let me put you guys back. Yeah, a bit of a personal question there. That's funny. Okay, well, the Johnsons have no change. You know, I haven't done anything else. Haven't done anything else with it, so it's I haven't had time. It's been really busy around here, so I haven't had time to even touch that thing. It's still sitting there on the table, and I need to start tearing it down. Maybe I can do something over Christmas vacation. I don't know, but nothing in the foreseeable future even. All right, guys. Well, we talked about the turret going out, the turret being gone. That was kind of cool. I got rid of that thing for that gentleman up in Ventura over a couple of days, and he'll appreciate that money. I'll get that money off to him. I went through my omissions on the radius and tangent dresser. I appreciate everybody's input. Are you planning to post some videos about profile grinding in the future? I've done a few already. You know, we've done some regular V notches and things like that. I've done a video on how to work into an inside corner where you've got a horizontal and a vertical surface, and working your way into an inside corner and create a relief on an inside corner. I've got a video where I made an actual radius tool for the lathe, where I cut a round radius tool for the lathe, or it was a quarter round. So I've done a few already. But yeah, I'll get some more out. You know, as the jobs come up, I don't really just take a scrap part and do a video on it. I'll wait for an actual job to come in that requires that, and then we'll cover it. You know, I like to do things in real life circumstances whenever I can, a real job. Okay, James says, remember VXB if you need bearings for that Johnson. Is that the same one that Double Boost got his bearings from? Yeah, you'd love to see an actual real job. Yeah, that's, you know, real life situations always present real life problems, and we're not doing things in a perfect world. And you know, when problems come up, they're actually a good thing. You know, if you make a mistake and have to make a correction, it's a good thing. We learn from it, and we can show you all that. So if you're just on a practice piece and you screw it up, you say, well, you know, we're shooting for a 1/2 inch radius and a 1 inch diameter, and oh, look, we're under, but who cares? It's just a practice piece. There you go. That's how you do it. But in real life, we'd have to recover from that and make an actual part that our customer will accept. So it's better to do it in real life. VXB is the one that has the butter soft bearings. I gotcha. All right, guys. Any more questions for me? Practice piece is not so interesting. Yeah, that's the truth. If you guys got any more questions for me or any more comments for me or anything else you want me to cover or any last minute questions about this while we're still live, you know, I'd like to address it now. I really think we've got everything covered this time. I did get asked, what's this hole for on the bottom? She's got a hole right there in that recess. And my answer to that was, I don't know. I don't know. I guess maybe on another machine, maybe on like a KO Lee or something, it would have a T slot and a hole down, and you could hold it down to that. So on a different machine, that hole might come in handy. But on my surface grinder, I just stick it down to the mag. So that's my explanation as why the hole's in the middle. What has been the toughest grind you've done? I've well, those inside corners are tricky, and the biggest problem is being able to see. You know, you're a lot of times you're grinding such tiny little parts and doing such fussy little work, and there's grinding dust flying out, there's sparks flying, and you got to get your face in there and see what you're doing. It's not that it's so difficult; it's just difficult to see what you're doing, and when you're actually removing material and setting up and making sure your parts are not moving. And there's a lot of little things involved. Production machine, maybe. Yeah, I'm thinking that hole is for like a KLE that where they got the T-slot table. Malcolm, hi from Malcolm in the UK. How you doing? We're just finishing up, Malcolm. Sorry you came in late, but you can always watch it on the after it posts. It'll post here in about 10 minutes after we're done. Okay, guys and gals, anything else for me? Now be the time to ask. Do you know any small grinders that are cheap enough, like models? Because here in Ukraine, all grinders are for tanks or so. So not so much for tool makers, about 100 kilograms of weight. Thanks for the lesson, Stan. You bet, Nick. Small grinders. I don't know what Stefan Gottswinter got. He got an awfully small one. It's benchtop. It's a tiny little thing. If you don't subscribe to Stefan Gottswinter, go over and check him out and check out some of his surface grinding videos. But he's got a very small machine just for little parts, you know, little tiny things. I don't know what the work envelope is on it, but it's quite compact and seems fairly light. But go check out his channel and see what machine he got. Yeah, that is a pretty cool grinder. I love that little benchtop. Okay, well, we're going to sign off here, I guess. If we got no other questions, I'll give you guys another minute. You bet, CNC. No problem. If you guys don't have any other questions or anything, we're going to log out, and I'm going to start my day. I got to finish that crate and get it on its way to New Mexico and get ready for a quick road trip. And I got a bunch of stuff I got to do around here. I got a quick job I got to do and quite a bit of stuff. So I need to get off this live feed. Have a good rest of your day. James Green says, time for coffee and Kahlua and Jack. Brian, no problem. I appreciate you guys tuning in, and I appreciate all the great comments. All right, guys, in regular Bar Z fashion, I want you to enjoy the rest of your day. This is Stan out.